Good evening, everyone. DM here from That Wrestling Show with a review of Hell in a Cell. Was it good? Was it bad? Well, why don't we get right down into it? The opening matchup was Sheamus versus Christian. This was an alright opener. It was okay. Nothing really too spectacular. Christian did give Sheamus a bit of a run for his money there, but Sheamus gets the win. Well, not for nothing, but I don't really think that this match had much importance, to be 100% honest. Yeah, Sheamus wins, so I guess this kind of puts him in line for a title shot against Mark Henry at the next pay-per-view. We shall see where that goes. Sheamus gets the win, an alright opener. I got no problems with it. Christian, well, you had a good push for a couple days, and hopefully you enjoyed that ride while it lasted. The second matchup on the card was Sin Cara versus Sin Cara, or Sin Cara 2, or Sin Negro as we were calling him in the chat room. Sin Cara 2, or Sin Negro as we were calling him in the chat room, had different music, different setup, different kind of, even pyro even a little bit. It was kind of creepy, it was kind of nice. Those of you that know, I'm a big hardcore wrestling fan, and this is almost a direct rip-off of Tiger Mask and Black Tiger. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. This is actually a really good idea that WWE has done rather well. The match itself, it was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't all kicks and flips and everything like that the fans were kind of probably expecting. This was more of a wrestling match, and I kind of liked it. It was strange not seeing Sin Cara and Sin Cara do kicks and flips and everything. It was different. Yes, they did have a couple of spots in there, but it was okay. It really wasn't a bad match. Sin Cara gets the win with the Manami roll, or the Tijuana Destroyer, or whatever you want to call it. Really good. So Sin Cara Azul, or Blue, gets the win. Is this going to be the end of the Sin Cara series? Probably not. Hopefully not, because I could definitely see this spilling into Vengeance, which is the next pay-per-view coming up. We then get a bonus match for Hell in a Cell, which is Air Boom going up against Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler. This was an alright tag match. It was a bonus match. You really can't complain with bonus matches, even though we would get another one in a little bit. Air Boom retains the titles. Again, an alright tag match, but I kind of feel that maybe they shouldn't have had a bonus match, because it kind of took away from perhaps the main event, but I see where they were going with this. But overall, real no complaints with the tag match. Got no problem. Air Boom to retain their titles, and, not bad. Again, got no problem with it. The next matchup on the card was Randy Orton versus Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight title in Hell in a Cell. And to be honest, I think this was a little bit better than their last encounter, but I wouldn't say it was fantastic. Mark Henry destroys Randy Orton. Orton finally starts to rally back in the later half, but gets beaten after the punt kick gets countered into the World's Strongest Slam. Mark Henry goes to Pillmanize Randy Orton and gets beaten down by Randy Orton. Therefore, vengeance will be Orton's. Hint, hint. Mark Henry is able to retain the title, but still gets beaten up. I think it was the wrong idea. I think Henry should have just left Orton laying in the middle of the ring. I think that's how WWE should have booked it, with Randy Orton laying there in the ring. But, whatever. I can't really argue the fact, but Henry wins, and Randy Orton is no longer champion still, even after that. So, good stuff there. We then get another little segment. Cody Rhodes comes down to the ring and says he's going to get rid of the Intercontinental title and throws it in the trash, or in this case, a paper bag. And then he starts to pull a silk bag over, and I'm thinking, well, it's definitely going to be a new title. Not quite! Believe it or not, he reveals the Intercontinental title from the Golden Era. Yes, The Golden Era Intercontinental title has returned. I think the plates on the side have been changed and modified a little bit. I couldn't quite tell, but it looks fantastic. The fans were popping for this. WWE, it just goes to show you, you don't need to update your titles, just make them look like what they used to. It would be nice if they did that with the tag team titles. Cody Rhodes displaying this beautiful Intercontinental title and says that guys like Rick Steamboat, Steve Austin, Randy Savage, Bret Hart have held this title, and I'm going to wear it proudly, but unlike them, I'm going to give it some poise and grace. John Laurinaitis comes out and says you're going to have a match tonight up against John Morrison. Yet another bonus match to Hell in a Cell, but it's John Morrison, it's Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title. No complaints. This match was, again, it was okay. Cody Rhodes tried to get himself counted out, but Morrison said, I don't think so. Morrison tried his best, he really, really did, but Cody Rhodes is still able to get the win, retaining the Intercontinental title. Morrison, I'm sorry that they're not doing anything with you, but at least you still look pretty in the ring. And Cody Rhodes, well, again, you're proving why you should be Intercontinental Champion and why you should be higher on the card. We get a quick little commercial with Rey Mysterio and the light strike thing, and we get to the next match, which is Beth Phoenix going up against Kelly Kelly. Finally, this time, Kelly Kelly gets what's coming to her. She gets her ass kicked, but she does put up one hell of a fight as Beth Phoenix is able to finally score the title off of her and become Divas Champion. Kind of weird that 3 times a charm and they wouldn't do it the last pay-per-view in her hometown, but I'm sure there's a reason, even though WWE said that Kelly Kelly is finally getting over as a champion, and then 2 weeks later after they made that statement they took it off of her, so it just goes to show you that someone fucked up 2 weeks ago. We then get to the main event of the evening, which is John Cena, Alberto Del Rio, and CM Punk for the WWE Championship. All through the night, they were doing interviews with all 3 guys. We even got Miz and Truth at the start of the show getting kicked out, and then in between the show, taking out Air Boom. Kind of sets the groundwork that we're going to see them later, but I am jumping ahead of myself. So, we get the main event of the evening, and everyone was kind of leery that, yeah, well, here's the problem. If Alberto Del Rio wins, why did they take it off of him in the first place? If CM Punk wins, why did they take it off of him in the first place? And if John Cena wins, we kind of are back at the status quo. So no one was really going to be happy with any result, but let's be 100% honest. This match, although it wasn't bloody, was actually really good. Del Rio was the aggressor in this match, beating up Punk and Cena with chairs, lead pipes, and more so his fist. I think the general flow of the match was actually pretty good. Cena got in a couple of good spots, CM Punk got in a couple of good spots, Del Rio got in a couple of good spots. There was no, I don't want to say a slow pace. This was actually had, like I said, a really good flow. Nothing really wrong with this match. Towards the ending half, it looks like that Del Rio is going to lose due to the STF. Rodriguez is able to open the door. John Cena takes Rodriguez and hits an AA to the floor. Del Rio takes out John Cena with a steel pipe and locks him out of the cell and throws the key under the ring. He goes after CM Punk. They have a good couple of minutes left, and Del Rio gets the win as a granted new WWE champion. Well, it kind of feels silly that they had John Cena lose it in the first place just to give it back to Del Rio. And that's not the story. The story is that John Cena gets in the ring to go to attack Del Rio, but no, Miz and Truth get inside and they beat the crap out of everyone within the cell. Triple H and John Laurinaitis come down to the ring, but the cell lowers. They try to get the cell to raise back up. Here comes security. Here comes the Raw and SmackDown locker room. They can't get the cell open. They can't get the doors open. It's just mass chaos. Cena goes down, a cameraman goes down, the referees go down. There's just so much chaos and anarchy. Finally, they get some bolt cutters. They open the door with the bolt cutters. In come the security guards, or the police, I should say. They arrest Miz and Truth. Triple H beats the shit out of Miz. I think he even took down John Laurinaitis at the same time. All this mass chaos, all of this mass panic. Really good ending. But I think it takes away from the fact that Alberto Del Rio won the title. I mean, he didn't even get announced champion. minutes before there was a, attack upon the entire, freaking WWE. However, I can't take anything away from it. I think the match was still pretty good. I think the ending was pretty good. I think what they did was pretty good. And the ending segment was, again, pretty good. Kind of makes you want to watch Raw and see what's going to happen. Now, my overall thoughts on Hell in a Cell. Well, to be fair, I really don't want to give this a 5 out of 5 score. But I am not going to give it a low score either. I think on all, with all things considered, including the 2 bonus matches, I think everyone performed actually rather well. This was so much better than the last pay-per-view. In fact, this was so much better than SummerSlam, which is kind of sad, actually, if you really think about it. To be fair, I'm going to give this pay-per-view, I'll give it 4 out of 5. I think I would have liked to have seen more out of the Sin Cara match, and I think if you took out, to be honest, if you took out Sheamus and Christian, if you took that out and gave that time to perhaps the main event and made it just a little bit longer, I think it would have bumped up the score a little bit. But overall, all around, Hell in a Cell, really not a bad pay-per-view. I really enjoyed it, to be honest, even though I was poking fun at a lot of the things. Overall, again, Hell in a Cell, not a bad show. Not a great show, but really not a bad show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. WWE, you kind of impressed me tonight. And the last couple of pay-per-views have been kind of a downer since CM Punk won the title. It's just been kind of a downward spiral. But now it seems that you finally got something right. You're probably trying to erase the last pay-per-view out of everyone's minds, and I think it worked. Check this pay-per-view out. If you don't, there's plenty of ways that you can catch it. I am Dean from That Wrestling Show saying please watch this pay-per-view. Enjoy this pay-per-view. Again, WWE, not a bad job, and I will see you next time.